decided to build a late-night talk show set in my garage. Not exactly sure why, but I run all the cameras and do everything myself and just hope that nothing goes wrong. This is 10 Minutes With. Okay. Hey, Pete. Welcome to the show. My name is Brian Kelsey. This, of course, as always, is Pete Chifo. Hey, Pete, this is the inaugural episode of the maiden voyage of the new set. It kind of pretty much looks like the old set, but it's got some different touches. It's a little bit smaller. We're a little closer, which is great for COVID, by the way. But you're still you're probably 8 feet from me.
Yeah, 8, 10.
You know, speaking of COVID, it was always difficult to get guests to come on this show because who wants to come sit in my garage? But now it's even more difficult with COVID. But we've worked out a way to have guests safely. And my guest today is actually sitting outside in a lawn chair. So let's bring him in because it looks like it's going to rain. My guest today formed a little band way back in 1975 that went on to become one of the most highly acclaimed acts in the world. He's an artist, a drummer, a producer, and now the author of a new book. It's called Remain in Love, Talking Heads, Tom Tom Club, and Tina.
Well, generally speaking, I think it's real city music.
Talking Heads.
Drummer Chris Frantz is well known as a co-founder of the legendary band Talking Heads.
Of course, we each have fairly quirky instrumental styles ourselves.
Please welcome Talking Heads.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Frantz. Hi, there he is. Look at my driveway. You good? Hey, look at this guy. How do you like that theme music?
I like it.
I wrote it myself.
It's very rock.
Welcome. First of all, you have a drink there. Pete, what did Pete make you?
I am having a dark and stormy.
Oh, well, cheers to health and the new book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Because
I can hear you pretty well.
I brought some walkie-talkies, so you might want to just. Hello? Can you hear me?
Check. Hello?
I think you
I can hear you a little bit.
Okay, that's good. Chris, it's such a pleasure having you here. I'm a huge fan, and let's go right into the book because this is just amazing. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and one of the things that I really have noticed that's been a thread throughout the whole book is the amount of detail that you have in here. In other words, you're talking about your apartment in 1974 on Christie Street down in the East Village, down to the color of the chair where your phone was, all these things. How did you go about compiling all the information for the book? Did you have a journal? How do you remember all this?
You know, I'm kicking myself still that I never kept a journal. And all along I said to myself, Chris, you should really be keeping a journal, but I never did. It's so stupid. And we didn't even have a camera to take pictures of each other. We did have I take that back. We had one of those Polaroid big shot cameras, but you couldn't really carry that around all the time. But I mean, no, I had to sit down and just stew in my own memories for a while. Yeah. And that's what I came up with. I swear everything is true.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to mention is that, like so many autobiographies, it's very easy to sort of lay into the people you don't like or the bad relationships and just let it all, like, burn bridges. And I noticed that you just, in this book, you basically just told it the way it is. You told the story, and the viewer or the reader, we decide what we like or we don't like. Was that deliberate? And how did you approach that?
I didn't want it to be a mean-spirited kind of book. There have been plenty of those already. And I consider myself to be a very fortunate guy. And, anybody who's been in a rock and roll band or any kind of band, jazz band or whatever, for 40-some years, you're bound to have some twists and turns and some little hiccups that aren't much fun. And we did have those, but I preferred to concentrate on the many, really cool and fantastic experiences we had. One of which was opening for the Ramones at CBGB.
Well-
that was our first gig.
Yeah, well, here, okay, I have so many questions, but I do want to hit on CBGBs. You all met in RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, in the early '70s. Basically, you were kind of preppy. Let's be honest. And here you are moving to probably one of the most violent and worst neighborhoods in the whole country, which is the Bowery in New York City in the mid '70s. How did you guys adapt to that? And how? I mean, you guys clearly didn't get eaten alive, which many people do.
My agent, my literary agent, asked me the same question when he was reading that chapter about moving to the Bowery. He said, "Chris, for a nice kid from the suburbs moving into the Lower East Side, was there a period of adjustment?" And I said, "Yes, as a matter of fact, there was a little period of adjustment, because but we knew it was a cool spot, a hip place to be, because, well, first of all, the rents were low, really low, and second of all, our neighbors were people like, Debbie Harry was 1 block away.
She was going to be you asked her to be the singer in the band.
Yeah. She said, "No, I've already got a band, but you can buy me a drink." And I did. And that was the beginning of a, really good friendship that we've had, which continues. I mean, she wrote a very nice blurb for my book. There was a history there, besides being like a very treacherous place. It was also a place where behind closed doors, there were really wonderful artistic things happening.
Why, though, was CBGB? Why was it such a scene that you wanted to be a part of? What was it about? I mean, like it was a rundown bar. It was in a terrible neighborhood. Why was there such a scene going on there, and why did you want to be a part of it?
Well, I had always imagined, as a kid, I grew up playing in little bands. First the school band, and then when the Beatles came out, little rock and roll bands. We called them combos, and and we would perform in the garage or the basement, and I would study up on the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles and the Beatles had this place called the Cavern Club, which was like in Liverpool, and was like their incubator where they could, do their thing and hone their craft and learn how to put on a show. And I had imagined that one day I would find a place like that where my band could incubate and get ourselves together. And so when I came across CBGB's, a friend of mine who lived catty corner across the street on Bond Street said, "Chris, there's something going on over at CBGB's across the way there. I think you should check it out." And so I did. And the first band I saw there was the Ramones. And the second band was Patti Smith, when she was just accompanied by one person, Lenny Kaye. And then I saw Television, and then I saw an early version of Blondie before they were called Blondie. And I said, well, this is it. I mean, this is incredible. And so we started practicing and writing songs 3 blocks away from there. And one day we screwed up the courage to I asked for an audition.
With Hilly Crystal?
Yeah,
Yep.
and Hilly said, "Well, I could put you on in front of the Ramones on Thursday night. And if it goes well, you can play with them on the weekend."
And it did go great. Like there's a picture of you in the book of your first big gig at CBGB's, and you have a shirt on like I do, like a white polo shirt. I can only imagine the Ramones coming after you, all dicked out in leather and black hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you get any sort of, not ridicule, but did you get any kind of pushback from people?
There were people who didn't really get Talking Heads, especially at first, because what was happening at that time in Lower Manhattan was the New York Dolls and the Lou Reed. And, people that were super cool looking and, wore the leather trousers and the snakeskin boots and everything. And we had, we had like polo shirts and well, I think David used to wear black jeans. I think we wore black jeans, but we were very low key and sort of. Our idea was we should look like every man, like the man on the street, except for Tina, who was always very stylish.
Yeah. I learned many things in this book, which people I'm sure don't know about. I didn't realize what an integral part of starting the band that you were. Like you essentially, you begged Tina to be in the band and really started the band.
Yeah, I always say I'm a founding member. But, without me, I don't think there would be any Talking Heads, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah. And you also did a lot of writing, of at least of lyrics in the beginning, too.
Yeah, lyrics, yeah. I didn't play guitar or piano or anything, but I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed literature.
So we're in the mid-'70s. Jerry comes along. He comes into the band playing keys and guitar as well. In the book, you mentioned that all of a sudden, I think this was 80 or 81, David decided to go kind of out on his own to do a solo record, unbeknownst to you. And you guys had no interest, you guys being you and Tina, had no interest in doing your own solo project. So how did Tom Tom Club come about then?
Well, we always viewed Talking Heads as our band, and we were very happy with our band, and we were enjoying pretty good success. But David wanted to do his thing, and then Jerry said, well, if David's going to do a solo album, I'm going to do a solo album. And then Tina and I thought, well, what are we going to do? And our accountant said, you better do something, because this was just after the big Remain in Light tour. And that tour, actually, I think we lost money on it. So our manager went to Chris Blackwell of Island Records. He said, have them come on down to Nassau to Compass Point. And so we made this record, and sure enough, it was like on the turntables, the Mud Club, Danceteria, Peppermint Lounge, which was great because at that point, we needed a little boost, Tina and I, psychologically and financially, and that was it. We got it.
And did you ever? And it's still going, and it's a kind of a rotating, like you just bring in musicians as you.
Yeah,
like
the idea was it would be a musical collective.
I mean, I'm available if you have any openings. Just for those who don't know, so. Tina Weymouth and Chris Frantz met back in 1973, was it? 72?
We met in 71.
71.
September of 71.
In school, Providence, Rhode Island, and have really been together ever since. And to me, that's like the book is really, it's a love story. Because if you think about it, and I'm going to ask you this question, and then I think we can call her and ask her the same question. What is the secret to keeping a relationship together that long, especially in the music industry, which is just
to me, it seems obvious, but the secret is, for me, is to keep the romance alive. Whatever that takes. If it takes, fancy candlelit dinners, or if it takes a box of dark chocolates, or if it takes a vacation somewhere that she wants to go, whatever it takes, just do it.
Can we call? I'd love to hear her side of what keeps a relationship together. And Pete, do I have the number? It's on the back of one of. Oh, there it is. Let's get her on the horn here. So that's.
Hello?
Tina?
Yes?
This is Brian Kelsey. I'm sitting here with your lovely and talented husband.
Yes. Good for you.
He's looking very handsome, very nice sitting out here in my driveway. We're having a conversation about what is the secret to keeping a relationship like this alive.
Well, we make beautiful music together.
That you do, but let's be honest. It's tough. You're on the road. You're out there. You're together all the. I mean, like all the time.
We were together. I mean, of course, we were a team and a very good one. But Brian, there's no real secret. It's just you have to make compromises and you have to voice your needs. And you know, I mean, you can't keep your spouse guessing what, you know, there's just no such, you know, that just doesn't work. But over time, you will start to think along the same lines and be able to, I mean, I can't not tell you the number of times that Chris has been thinking exactly the same thought as me and comes up with the same idea exactly when I'm thinking it. I think there are three things you have to say every single day, and one is, I love you. The other is, please. And another one is, thank you. Oh, and then, of course, I'm sorry. Well, I got very serious with you, didn't I?
This is fantastic, though.
I warned you.
We also want to know what's for dinner tonight. He'll be home. We're leaving. He's going to leave here in a few minutes. What should we do for dinner?
Well, I have a plan, and I think we should. I want Chris to message me back. I sent him a message about dinner tonight.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, he's ready. He's finishing up a little drink, and he'll look for your text. Tina, I can't thank you enough for chatting. I know this is kind of unexpected, but we were just talking about love. I just appreciate all the music, so I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
thank you. You know, we never get enough of that. You know?
Of course.
We love that's the greatest reward of all is to have fans of our music.
Okay, I'm going to let you go. Go back to your pictures. I'll send Chris home in a second. I just got to wrap it up here. He says goodbye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tina.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
It's Tina. It's Tina Weymouth. Thank you. Chris, I can't thank you enough for stopping by and sitting in my driveway.
Thank you, Brian.
It's been a true pleasure, and I really, really appreciate it. Chris Frantz, everybody. The name of the book is called Remain in Love, Talking Heads, Tom Club, Tina. Get it everywhere books are sold. Thank you.